Hi guys, today I'm going to be diving into the three main Vanlife vans and the major differences between them. So starting off with price, so just looking at the current year brand new for the extended high roof, as big of a van for Vanlife as you can go for each of the three models. The Benz Sprinter is starting right between the $60,000 and $80,000. The Ram Promaster is between $54,000 and $65,000, and the Ford Transit between $52,000 and $58,000. I'm going to link a chart with all of the information that we talk about today, so you can kind of follow along and see a clear difference between the winner and loser between the three vans in each category. Next, with the wheelbase, so the Benz Sprinter has the longest wheelbase at 170 inches. This definitely makes it a little bit more difficult to maneuver, fit into tight spots, and make more narrow turns. The Ram Promaster is right in the middle with 159 inches, and the Ford Transit has the shortest long wheelbase of 148 inches. Personally, with driving the Ford for the last 6 months or so, the turn radius is amazing. I can fit into any parking spot. I can whip U-turns. I really feel very comfortable with driving it. Sometimes I forget I'm as big as I am. Next, moving on to the overall length. So the Benz Sprinter does have the longest overall length of 290 inches, which does allow for the most interior floor space. Right in the middle would be the Ford Transit at 263.9 inches. And smallest overall length would be the Ram Promaster at 250.6 inches. Next, the interior height. So that was another reason why I really wanted to go with the Ford, was because it does have the tallest interior height of 81.5 inches, followed by the Benz Sprinter at 79 inches, and the Ram Promaster with the shortest interior height of 76 inches. However, moving on to width, the Ram Promaster has the widest interior width of 75.6 inches, and this does allow for a queen size bed to fit horizontal in the back of a Ram, which is really a huge winner point for why a lot of van lifers choose the van, is just that width space really allows for certain builds and comfortable sleeping. Right under that would be the Mercedes-Benz at 70.4 inches, followed by the Ford Transit of 54.8 inches. The Ford Transit is the narrowest. However, I do appreciate how easy and comfortable it is to fit into any parking space without feeling like I'm getting too close to other people's doors. It really does feel like I'm just kind of a pickup truck, and I feel like I can maneuver into some smaller spaces with that. Now moving on to the overall cubic feet. The Ford Transit has the highest cubic feet of 536.4, followed closely behind by the Benz Sprinter of 532.6 cubic feet, and then the Ram Promaster of 524 cubic feet. Then moving on to the engine performances, ultimately the Mercedes-Benz is the best performance for engines. However, when you're comparing the more affordable two options of the Ram Promaster and Ford Transit, the Ford does have a higher performance rating than the Ram does. Also moving on to suspension, the Mercedes-Benz has the best suspension package. However, the Ford Transit is very comparable. The Ram Promaster is just kind of a rattle box from what I hear, which can definitely affect how long your interior lasts if you're building it out. And there's a lot of vibrations. There's not a lot of good suspension to pick up that extra jolting. Can kind of break apart your interior build a little bit quicker. Now, the Benz Sprinter and the Ford Transit both have options for gas or diesel. Typically with diesel, your engine will last a little bit longer. However, the Ram Promaster only has gas options. Between, I think it was 2012 and 2014, they did have a couple models of diesel options. However, I think you kind of have to dig for those. They currently no longer make those. Now, the drivetrain. So the Benz Sprinter and the Ford Transit both have all-wheel drive options. However, there are a lot of Ford Transit that have rear-wheel drive, which is why I ended up finding a really difficult time finding all-wheel drive, especially within my price range. With the all-wheel drive, I was looking more around the like $50,000 to $60,000 mark, and I was really trying to stay under 40. So that's ultimately why I ended up getting one with rear-wheel drive, just because I found a newer year with lower mileage that I could afford. So I figured that with all the weight in the back, it would be something that I could manage. And then last, I want to talk about the wall shape. So one of the big perks of the Ram Promaster is that the walls are fairly straight. So that makes building the inside a lot easier than trying to build off of the curvature. So following the Ram would be the Ford. So they do have a small curvature to the walls. So you just have to be a little bit more precise with your cuts, and that does kind of limit some of your overhead space, just because your cabinets aren't going to be as square. They're going to be kind of tapered in the back. And then the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter overall does have the largest curve. So if that's something that matters significantly to you or your build, then you can take that into factor. So that's just some of the research that I've done over the years. A lot of the things that I really looked into was the affordability, the engine, the suspension system, and the overall cubic feet. So ultimately, the Ford Transit ended up being the best option for me. However, each one has their own pros and cons. If I had a wealth of money, I probably would have gone with the Mercedes-Benz. However, then you're still having difficulties with maintenance and part availability, and you'll be putting a lot more money into the vehicle. For the longest time, I really wanted to do the Ram Promaster just because of the straight walls and the longer width where you can fit a queen-size bed horizontal in the back. That was really appealing to me for a lot of the layouts that I was looking at doing. But ultimately, I ended up kind of doing a little bit of a workaround with my layout, where I'm going to be having a small like love seat recliner in there. With that, my bed is going to be on a lift system, which just kind of mitigates the importance of orientation of the bed in the van for me. I'm also very small, so I can fit on lengthwise or widthwise, even if it is a lot shorter. So that's a little perk for me. But not everyone has that ability, so that's why some of the other options might work better for you. Otherwise, if you have any other questions about the 3 different cargo vans, please put them in the comments. I'll be looking out to answer any and all questions. If you thought this video was helpful, go ahead and give it a like. I'm on my own van life conversion journey right now, so go ahead and take a look at my other videos as I just get started in converting my Ford Transit. So thank you guys for watching.